Yeah, my name is Michael Kirst. I'm responsible for the Southern California area here for Xtremio. I'm glad to be here and talk about Xtremio, the new and shiny star within EMC. There was a white paper brought out by Wikibon, one of their, let's say, third-party analysts. December 2014, the co-founder, who is David Floyer, brought that out, dividing the flash market right now into 4 generations. So he went out and said, okay, have a look at generation 1, which is really a flash arrays, legacy systems like hybrid arrays, which have some software technology inside to have auto-tiering managed between tiers, so having flash data drives, but always having HDDs or spinning drives as other tiers. For example, you got flash drives, fiber channel drives, nearline SAS drives. These are the 3 tiers, and normally there's software combined with it to enable automatic tiering between these 3. Generation 2 was really about the flash optimized hybrids. So there are some vendors like Tintree, Nimble, T-Gile. I'm pretty sure that some of you already know these vendors. So Wikibon just mentioned here about the architecture itself. It's a dual controller architecture. So from a perspective of scaling, it's limited for capacity only. You're not able to scale in performance. And on this part, it is normally the use case for a single workload in your environment. So normally when you have something like an Oracle database, you're going to use it for this specific workload, but not for a consolidated approach. And this makes it difficult for you, if you have the strategy and vision for your data center to go all flash, to do it with these kind of systems. So generation 3 was more about the scale-up all-flash array. So we are entering the all-flash array market here right now. It is still a dual controller architecture, so limited in scale and for a single workload, and they provide some data services. But in this generation 3, it's more like the choice that you have between performance and between data services, because you can't have both in a single system. This is why generation 4 was here mentioned by Wikibon, which is about the scale-out all-flash array. And this is really the place where Xtremio is in place. So we have a multi-controller architecture. At this point in time, we have up to 16 controllers, which are active running. Due to the scale-out architecture, you're really able to scale into the petabytes of storage. So the all-flash data center is possible with Xtremio within a single system. And this is why we are optimized for mixed workload environments. We are built for predictable performance because we have inline data services all the time, which is reducing the TCO a lot. So if you have a look at the cost per gigabyte, per effective gigabyte on Xtremio, it's comparable to any mid-tier storage that you have in your environment because of data services. But at the same time, you really get the highest performance that you can normally have for your application. So the SLA will always be secured. You don't have any service requests about high latency or data applications that are not working correctly. It's not always about high performance on an I/O perspective. It's more like the predictable latency, which makes it really affordable and which makes it really suitable for applications like Oracle, like SQL. So what we call here the Xtremio sudden impact is when you introduce the Xtremio system into your environment, you're going to see a sudden impact on your applications, on your SLA. Licensing is done on the core basis, on the CPU basis. So normally you want to get the best out of your CPU, out of your core environment, and when you can achieve that by providing low latency all the time, you can really reduce the cost of licensing for your Oracle environment by a lot. The blue line is about the scale-out architecture, which is generation 4 in the Wikibon perspective, and the yellow one is about a generation 3 product. So you can really see about the predictable latency, but okay, having a latency here about 4.5 milliseconds is still okay for applications, but it gets worse when you have an all-flash system and you have to do some post-processing, for example, like garbage collection. This can really have a huge impact on your environment, and you will see a rise here on the latency curve. So SSDs really have an issue with log structuring because of their architecture. SSDs really are not able to write at the same point where the information has been before. So overrides are not happening at the same location. When you really write to an SSD, you always write at the next empty cell. And there's a post-process happening on the SSDs which is freeing up the space which is no longer used, no longer necessary to be pulled off. But as the SSDs always have to put electricity on the cells to get information out or in, this is a garbage collection. It's completely different to HDDs, right? At HDDs you have the ability to write the same block all the time, not with SSDs. And this is why every SSD has to do garbage collection. Xtremio is the scale-out architecture, as already mentioned. So we have two controllers in so-called X-brick. It's like a Lego building block environment. We got specific core environments here, RAM, like other commodity things that you have, Intel processors with specific gigahertz on processing power, 512 gigabyte RAM, which is huge for a server environment. If you have a look at 256 gigabyte per controller, that's huge. But the point is, we are a cache-centric system. Every I/O that comes into the system is handled by the storage controller cache. We don't go down to the SSD for getting the location of the data. Everything which is metadata information is in cache. So imagine you have a system which has a 100% cache hit rate. That's pretty damn fast. We provide fiber channel iSCSI in each of these X-bricks, and we have 25 enterprise multi-level cell SSD drives. We have two controllers with the DAEs, with the drives. If you have a look here at active-passive approach, it might look like an active-active from the host perspective, but on the back end, it's still one controller serving the IOs to the back end. At this point, we are able to scale out up to 16 controllers, which gives us the ability to grow up to 2 million IOPS slower than a millisecond response time. There have been several design approaches for Xtremio. One is obviously efficiency because of the approach using all flash. The other one is simplicity. It's about there's no planning ever needed. We don't talk about RAID groups. We don't talk about specific configuration that needs to be done. No tuning. Everything is pre-configured. Everything is load balanced across all the resources in the environment. No certifications necessary. Storage skills really limited. As I said, even my son can do it. And the provisioning, we had a competition in place during EMC World in May this year. Our VP was able to provision storage in 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Try this with any other storage system. You won't be able to do that. Xtremio delivers all the data services that you see on this page here inline on the wire speed. No taxes to pay when you use data services with Xtremio. EMC did something different with Xtremio. They offered protection plans which they have never been able to offer before. Something like here, a 7-year price protection plan. So when you buy 3 years of premium maintenance with Xtremio, we're going to lock you in from a price perspective for the next 4 years. Think about what you have done with other storage systems right now, or what you have done before is you buy 3 years. After the 3rd year, you go to the vendor and want to have additional maintenance and additional support. They're going to charge you 30–40% more than they did the year before. And it's going to increase with the year 5, and don't think about year 6. So Xtremio really provides us price protection for up to 7 years. And we do the same with endurance protection for the SSDs. Because normally SSD failures are not covered from your maintenance support perspective. You have to pay for every SSD that's failing. We have such a huge architecture about software and all that stuff that we can really reduce the impact of endurance, and we can deliver a protection plan for 7 years for your SSDs in your environments. Last but not least, 3-year money-back guarantee. This really means when you don't get the performance that we claim we get, something like the 2 million IOPS that you've seen there, we will give you your money back. You can return the system, and you can use something else. We don't mind. It's a 3-year money-back guarantee that you can get with EMC, and this has never been able to provide before. That's only because EMC or Xtremio is really confident about the product and about the software that they delivered. Because it's really the best approach that you can get from an all-flash storage perspective. All right, thank you.